The Day Billy Fell Off the Cliff by Byron Broussard. The Day Billy Fell Off the Cliff, Part 21. A voice from outside here again. Seems we are doing more traveling, this time back to Billy and his last recorded. This time back to Billy and his time last recorded. In the meantime, between time, during the download of new relevant history, this voice has decided to bicker about linear storytelling in a land with no relevant time, in which time has already been described as a sphere. Picture this, if you will, a runner on a circular track at his respective start line. This voice likes to picture the track as a loop. I like picturing the runner going upside down, and I enjoy speaking in third person. This voice here is now trying to make a point about how time is relative to the story. Now, if you picture the runner on a flat track, the motion that happens is the image of the runner moves backwards and up and around in a loop to the start position. If you picture the loop track, the image of the runner goes sideways in a circle to the start position. No running taking place, but motion tells a different story. Since it is a loop gone backwards, one can assume that something occurred between the finish and the start. What occurs is limitless potential. By taking a shortcut to the end, and by the end being where the start is, we've successfully condensed time. What could have been thought of as a linear foot race is now just an idea that something happened between. The runner could have left the track and gone home to eat dinner before returning to the track the next day in the same position. In the same way, we return to the story of Billy from part 15 of the story, exiting the darkness of self-reflection in the hole in the coals, with me next to the flaming skeleton with a suspicious flaming lady hot on his trail. Our coordinates, our frequency is intuition, body is Billy's flaming body, surrounding is the land of fire, also known as our intuition being intuition, our time is Billy, our location as the land of fire. Billy exited the darkness of self-reflection to the familiar yellow-orange glow of the light that seemed to come from every direction. He opened his eyes to the all too familiar sound of the campfire. Me was sitting across from Billy, looking out of place and all too comfortable in the pit of coals. "Hey, look at this," Me said in a toneless voice, turning towards Lee, who was towards Me's right side, also looking too comfortable in his rainbow tunic. "It looks like we're talking to each other," Me said inside Billy's head. Lee's lips moved as Billy watched them. "See, now I look like I'm responding," Me said inside Billy's head, and Billy watched as Me's lips moved in the seeming response to Lee. "There's a war going on up there," Jessica said inside Billy's head, sounding serious. "But you two are adorable," Jessica giggled. Billy untied Lisa and touched her with the feeling of imparting. He could feel her determination. "It has been a pleasure, Lisa," Billy said inside his head as Lisa stood up and exited the hole Billy had dug in the coals. Lee looked at Billy and waved with a smile. "Have fun," Billy said inside his head to Lee. His flaming body waved. Me tied their golden rope around their rainbow tunic and spread open their arms to Lee. Lee's face lit up and he stepped into Me's arms. I find him. Too many scenarios impossible. When I find him. Too many scenarios and possibilities to directly ask about, Lisa said inside of Billy's head. "You'll be fine. You're the best," Lee said in a toneless voice inside Billy's head. "Holy shit, we can hear you," Jessica yelled inside of Billy's head. Me smiled at Billy and pointed at their hand on Lee and pointed to their mouth and ears. Shit, what the fuck? How much of that did you hear? Lisa said quickly. What's going on, Lee? Me and Lee were hugging, and it seems that when they touch in the flaming land, it's like a radio link, Billy said to Lisa inside his head. Lee looked timidly around the hole with a sheepish smile on his vantablack face. Let them, Lisa said inside Billy's head, and Lee let go of me and exited the hole. Ask the question, Jessica said inside of Billy's head. She spoke so that her words competed with the sound of being inside the campfire. She spoke so that her words competed with the sound of being inside a campfire. Me smiled and sat back. That's pretty lucrative to have a party connected to the same source, Billy said it. Billy said this statement as a question to me. Well, hey, I won't let just any intuitions mesh with us, Me said in a toneless voice, holding up their hands in surrender. I'm a two-person intuition. That's right you are, Jessica said sternly. Yeah, you are. But what if Rick isn't? Billy said, sounding contemplative. I feel like going back into the darkness of self-reflection to see how it could play out. Me looked at Billy and exited the hole. We just got out. I'm gonna scout and catch on fire before you can blink, Me said in a toneless voice from somewhere outside of the hole. Billy sighed. I'm with me, Billy. If you're gonna sit in the slow-motion fog, then you may as well put me in my body, Jessica said inside Billy's head. I'll go to work on that whole religion of the immortals thing. You can chill in this hole if you need to. That brings me to one of my main questions. Who gets the pleasure of me's absence? Billy said inside his head in a teasing tone. What's it looking like up there, me? Jessica asked. Just the usual, fighting as far as the eye can see, and also the occasional lightning strike, Me said in a toneless voice. How do you plan to persuade them into listening or learning? Billy asked Jessica. Now you're thinking in action and out of that thought fog, Jessica said excitedly. We can find out together. She asked the question as a statement. Billy stepped out of the hole into the flaming cottage. The flaming skeleton was still in the corner holding its knees. Me was standing in the doorway looking out at the flaming land. Billy could see a few flaming people and flaming beasts looking back towards me. The other flaming people were moving fast. Some were changing from beast to human and vice versa, falling from the sky and starting to run on the coals, or running on the coals and then lifting off into the air. Things are a bit different, Jessica said inside Billy's head. The flaming people who were looking towards me had their swords out and were fighting amongst each other. Not all that different. And still more to come, Billy said, sounding tired. Let's test the new developments, Jessica said, trying to lift spirits again. Put me back in, coach. They laughed and Me stepped out the door, dodging sword swipes and grabs from the flaming people. Me moved slowly and deliberately, and Billy stepped out to follow. All right, Billy said in his head. He put Jessica in the bag and then reached for her. A strike of lightning shot out from his back and went to the star. Welcome back, Me said in their toneless voice. So good to be back, Jessica said. I hear you loud and clear, Billy said as he looked around at the flaming people. Billy took out his sword and turned to the 6 flaming people taking swings at me. I'm gonna fight my way to you guys, Jessica said, sounding excited. Gotta see what happens when we have a guest in the mix. Billy threw his sword at a flaming beast above me. Billy threw his sword at the flaming beast above me and severed its head before one of the other 5 flaming people turned into a flaming beast and took its place. Don't add too many people, Jessica, Billy said as he flanked a flaming man on Me's side and decapitated him. Me changed directions and walked towards Billy. The decapitated flaming beast was now a flaming woman, getting up from the coals and finding her sword. Me is like a friggin' bug lamp out here, Billy said inside his head, sounding frustrated. There were now about 10 flaming people around me, and me was only a few feet from Billy. Would you shake them and find a better vantage point, please? Billy said inside his head to me. If you say so, me answered in a toneless voice. Me blurred to one side, then to another, and appeared at Billy's side. Welcome aboard, new traveler. Tonight's your lucky eternal evening, Jessica said inside Billy's head. There were now about 20 flaming people coming towards Billy and me with their swords drawn. What's your name and purpose? Jessica asked the new traveler. Chet, Chet said to Jessica. Does anything have purpose here? I guess my purpose is to find out, Chet said. I like him already, Billy said as he spun his sword to create a perimeter between him and the flaming people. Billy backed me and himself against the cottage wall. I'm Jessica, Jessica said to Chet. I'm me said to Chet while looking at Billy. Ugh, you know what upsets flaming people when they see you talk, me, Billy said inside his head. Nice to meet you guys, Chet said. Billy swung his sword and created another perimeter. A flaming woman ran at me, and Billy extended his arms toward her. A flaming woman ran at me, and Billy extended his arm towards her. The flaming woman looked at Billy and continued her path. Billy stepped in front of me and swung his sword like a baseball bat at the flaming woman. Her body fell to the coals of the 2 pieces in front of me. A flaming beast descended on Billy. Above you, me said in a toneless voice, and Billy spun his sword in the air. The sword hit the flaming beast and it fell to the coals. Can you help out me? Billy asked, looking at the group that was growing bigger. You already need assistance over there? Jessica asked in a teasing voice. What do you mean, over there? Chet asked inquisitively. Me walked out from behind Billy and slowly stepped into the crowd of flaming people while dodging sword swipes and grabs. Me looked like a master of kung fu, ducking and dodging. Billy watched as me gracefully ducked down and spun to the right, extending their arm with the momentum of a dance. The hand struck a flaming man who went flying off, almost comically. Me then ducked and spun the opposite direction with their foot extended like a roundhouse kick. Me's foot struck a flaming beast that shot up into the sky. I made Chet into lightning, Jessica said to Billy. Are you still doing all right out there? You should see me's fighting skills, Billy answered. It's like a slow dance through aggression. I have forgotten about me. It's like a slow dance through aggression. They have forgotten about me. Billy watched as me grabbed the flaming. I made Chet into lightning, Jessica said to Billy. Are you still doing all right out there? You should see me's fighting skills, Billy answered. It's like a slow dance through aggression. They have forgotten about me. Billy watched as me grabbed a flaming woman and swung her around, hitting flaming people with her body. Her intuition is content and confused about it, me reported back about the contact. Hey, let's try something else while we are still separated, Jessica, Billy said. Consume someone and enter the darkness of self-reflection. You're not trying to run away again, are you? Jessica asked, sounding suspicious. I am going to consume a flaming person also, but before that I want to know how time is affected when only one of us has their eyes closed. All right, but I won't spend forever with you in the darkness, Jessica said inside her head and Billy's heads. Jessica said inside her and Billy's heads. Again, Billy said in a teasing voice. Me laughed in a toneless voice as they swatted a flaming beast out of the sky. Billy watched as me lifted off the coals and flew around, seeming to tap the flaming beast on the head. The flaming beast tumbled to the coals at the touch of me's Vantablack hand. Neve flew back towards Billy with a smile on their face. "Here we go," Jessica said. "Watch this," Bee said as she pushed the flaming human towards Billy. "Hey," Billy said as his flaming body put its arms up in protection.